Hi, good morning. Welcome to day 9 of my spiritual virtue fast. And today's spiritual virtue is the virtue of enthusiasm. And the reading is going to come from the book of Hebrews, chapter 6, verses 9 through 12. Okay, so let's just get right into it. Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is being filled with spirit. It means God within. When we live with enthusiasm, we are excited about life and are open to the wonders each day holds. We do things wholeheartedly, with zeal and eagerness, holding nothing back. We allow the excitement of the moment to fill us. We enjoy good humor. We live in the moment and appreciate what we have, finding joy in simple pleasures. We are cheerful and optimistic about what is to come. Enthusiasm helps us to imagine what is possible. We follow our dreams with true joy. And whatsoever you do, do it heartily. Colossians 3:23. The practice of enthusiasm. I am excited about my life. I do things wholeheartedly. I am inspired by simple things. I put love and joy into what I do. I smile, laugh, and have a good sense of humor. I have a positive spirit. I am thankful for the gift of enthusiasm. It makes life simply wonderful. Nice. Okay. And, okay. So I had already took the liberty to read a little bit before. I read 7 to 20. And so for the sake of time, well, I shouldn't even say for the sake of time because God should deserve all the time. But I like to do it for clarity, just to get a full idea of what's happening. So for now, though, we can just keep it with 9 to 12. But beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, and things that accompany salvation, though we thus speak. For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have shewed toward his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints, and do minister. And we desire that every one of you do shew the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end, that ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises. Okay. So, I have to say, I wasn't really pumped up today. So and then to see that the word was enthusiasm, I was relieved that it was something that I like to be an optimistic person, so enthusiasm is something more in line of me when I'm my usual self, but sometimes we just have those moments where we just are into whatever mode of thinking we're into, and along with mood comes thought. So, anyways, I'm so grateful that today is on enthusiasm. And so what I did to uplift my mood was, I do my normal things, and sometimes your normal routine things so I just played a little music, and so it was good, to hear a little beat. So, anyways, I took some notes. So I really didn't take a lot of notes because with the reading, we're talking about mental health, talking about depression, we're talking about anxiety, talking about trauma, for some people, it's just not easy to be enthused. It's not easy to have enthusiasm. That is just not something that's easy to do. We can read about enthusiasm all we want, but sometimes it's just not happy. Sometimes it's just not something that some people are able to do in the moment. And that is why we have diagnoses such as depression or schizophrenia, bipolar. Sometimes we're too enthused. So it can be a struggle for some people to be enthused on a daily basis, and throughout the day too as well, right? Especially even just for the normal folk, and not to say normal as if having depression is abnormal, so I shouldn't even use the word normal. But not for an everyday person, who's dealing with everyday stresses of life, sometimes it's hard for them to be enthused all the time. So thank goodness that we don't have to be perfect. And when I think about this letter, the person who wrote it, like I think it's a woman who wrote it. And I was doing a little bit of reading, and apparently there's another lady, I should have wrote her name down. But another lady who they believe that the letter was written possibly by Priscilla, the wife of Aquila. So they're thinking that she may have written because she's also referenced in the book of Acts. So, but nonetheless, she's doing a lot of admonition and a lot of exhortation about God. A lot of, pulling out all of these pointers as to why we, the people at the time need to stay with the faith and not go back to the Lord out of fear of persecution. She's telling them, steadfast, stay with it, stay with them. Remember what this is all about. Remember who you are. But she's also saying, remember that you're not doing this in vain. There is a reward that's going to come. You may not see the reward now, but look in the past at the things that God said that he was going to do for the people in the past. He said he was going to do it, and he did it. So God is not going to lie. He cannot lie. This is what this person is saying in the letter. And so this person, I believe it's a she, is filled with a lot of enthusiasm. She's filled with enthusiasm to me. She's is doing it wholeheartedly. You can tell she's putting her all into this letter to try to help people to stay with the faith. And she's not telling them to do it because I'm telling you to do it. She's pulling up all of these reasons with fact of events that have happened, to convince them to stay the course, And she also, in the letter, is is talking about the fact that I understand you're being persecuted, you're going to jail, people are dying, you're losing your property, and some of y'all are sick. Some people have gotten sick and ill even by staying in this way and following the way of God and then ministering and stuff. She even referenced going into the land of wilderness, how many didn't make it into the promised land, but they made it out of the grips of Pharaoh, out of the grips of bondage, and so she's saying that, God, we have our part that we have to do, and God is doing his part. Why are things that way? I don't know. We can all look through, we could say because of Adam and Eve, and with talking with biblical reference, we can say because of Adam and Eve, and they wanted to be like God. Well, either way, this is how it is. Either way, this is how it is. And sometimes we have to find, even though it's hard to have enthusiasm on a daily basis, regardless of what you're dealing with, we can still turn to things that we know for sure we're enthused about. So it's good to stay mindful of those things, um so um yeah, I don't really have too much to say because I really need to reflect more on this one, you know um if I were to say it anymore, I would just be like forcing. you know I would be, you know so let me just stick with well, how can I become enthused, or how can I maintain my enthusiasm if I have depression, if I have that. All of the different sicknesses and illness they're talking about, we must remember that mental health is an illness. Physical health is an illness, right? And so, same illnesses that they have then, we have now, and other ones. There's still sickness, and we still have to push on. I think, sickness is a very sad time. It's very difficult to move forward when you're bounded by stress, or by grief, or by sorrow, or by anger, you know. And some people are able to show it with a smile. I'm one of those people, for the purpose of the camera. This is really my true state in the moment, because I really wasn't feeling too enthused today. Not that I was feeling bad today, just wasn't feeling so enthused. I was more content, but I'm happy nonetheless and grateful that today's enthusiasm, because I don't think I would have had it in me to have a word like yesterday. Yesterday's virtue, while I enjoyed it, it totally lifted my spirit. But and maybe that's why I'm a little bit more relaxed and tired, because I had good revelation yesterday. So yesterday's was good, but today is today, and today is about being enthused. It doesn't even say anything about feeling, right? That's another point too. And that's another thing that I noticed, is that, you know, um, living in your feeling, like when you're dealing with the moods swings or mood disorders, or sometimes it just feels overpowering and overtaking, and it's like, and that's well, that's what depression is, because you don't have enough of the chemicals in your brain for your brain to get your body to move and do the things as it would do when you're not depressed, and it's not something you could just snap out of, because I'm saying for you to be enthused. Medication helps. And a lot of people don't like taking medication because of the history of medication in America. And I don't know about the history necessarily in other countries, but here, history in America, I know a lot of black folks and a lot of regular folks don't like taking psychiatric medicine because of the harshness of it and the history of it, and the what's the uh, yeah I just I can't think of the word. Just my mind went blank. But nonetheless, medication works. It's really what it is. It's about finding the right medication for what you're dealing with. Nowadays, we're more fortunate because we have more people, we have more knowledge. There's more medications out there, and so it's not necessarily like how it was back in the days. So, they have lots of data on older medications. If you're a person weary about taking anything newer, like Prozac or Zoloft. Of course, I am not a doctor, so you would have to speak with a professional about those medications, but nonetheless, medications do work, because what you're doing is when you're feeling depressed, or when you're having symptoms of schizophrenia, or if you're having anxiety thoughts after thought, or if your mood is elevated, and or if you're having a hard time relaxing, or if you're feeling a lot of sorrow, or if you're just going, and you just feel stressed and overwhelmed, you just feel like you're just going to drop and faint, all of that stuff is just not good for you. And what it does is that it works to the brain, the chemicals in the brain are altered. So when you take medication, the medication helps to find a balance in the brain, right? And so, and at some point one day I could probably go more into depth, but this is basically what the medication is doing. And of course, some medication have side effects. It affects different people. So if there's a side effect, let's say they do a study with 2,000 people. If one person has a headache and nobody else has a headache, they have to list that as a side effect, right? So that's why they do these studies, and that's why they try to do controlled studies. Everything is not 100%, but they do the best that they can do to make sure that the validity and everything else with these studies and the research is as credible as it can be. So it's safer to take medications nowadays. It's really about who's prescribing for you. I really like to encourage people, if you don't know what to do with your life, and if you feel lost, and if you have the desire and interest to go to school, maybe you could go to school to become a person who works with mental health as a psychiatrist or as a psychiatric nurse. They do excellently. And yeah, because we need more people who are in the mental health field, who are prescribed, and they're looking to do things from a holistic perspective per se, where they are listening to the clients. Because I hear a lot of people say, I don't like how this medication works. And so a lot of people don't take medication because of that. They have bad experiences with medication, on top of people not wanting to take medication because it's like, well, if I take medication, that's saying that there's a problem with me. And it's like, well, we don't have to look at it from that perspective. If you have a headache, don't you take a Tylenol? Some people don't. I do. I take Advil. Okay. So anyways, why don't we just end there? So today, I'm going to walk knowing that it's okay to not be a jumping bean of ball of jelly beans. It's okay. It's okay to be in the mood that I'm in the moment. And even while I'm in that mood, I'm still going to move forward in my day. I'm going to play a song, that helps me to sing and helps to remind me that there are things in my life that do give me joy, yeah. And sometimes, when the things in my life that do give me joy, sometimes when those things give me joy, they give me stress. And in that moment, I'm not feeling joy with the things that give me joy. And so sometimes I just find it in the simple things. I just want to remember, like yesterday I said that we talked about yesterday how God, you can't feel him or touch him. You can't touch him, but you can feel him. He's like the wind. You can't see him, but you can feel him. So, going outside maybe and feeling some breeze on the fresh air, maybe that is something too to help change the mood and help put things into perspective. When I feel the wind is something that is bigger and powerful to me. I can't move the wind. Maybe when I run, or blow some gas. But other than that, I can't move the wind. So yeah. So today I'm going to walk knowing that all I have to do is step out into the wind and feel the wind of God on my cheeks, and remember that I have many things to be enthusiastic about. Yes, yes, when I forget, just going to step outside and go into the wind. God bless.